So let's look at the actual. These are from the College Board site, and College Board has released four different practice tests, right, for the SATs. I highly recommend that you only practice using College Board material, and I know for now there's only 4 practice tests that they released plus 1 PSAT, but PSAT this year there is a difference between difference in difficulty. But they did release 1 PSAT already, so try it out. So far there's only 5 real things that you could base it off. But remember what I said. Use the older SAT material, right? And in combination with the ACT material, because really it didn't change much. I know, SAT is making a big deal that it changed a lot, but it really didn't. The writing section is almost exactly like the ACT, I believe, English section. Right? So practice using those things. I highly do not recommend using Barron's or any other big test prep companies, because it's really not reflective of what's on the real tests. Okay? In any case, so I got these from College Board's online site. You could go look at it. I just picked questions randomly just to make a point about tone. Now, in this case, in number 23 that I found, I was just going through the question. It says author's attitude. Okay? Attitude is not exactly a literary technique term, and I looked this up in detail, going over the difference between tone, or difference among tone, mood, and attitude. But basically the attitude questions are all the same as tone, right? And this is from reading. So you could just think author's attitude or author's tone, right? Towards farming is best described as, and then they give you all these words. Now, if you notice, these words are not easy, and a lot of people think, hey, SAT, they're gonna use less difficult vocabulary, so I don't really need to study vocab. No, you should, because look, they're really trying to still trick you, right, by giving you all A words, right? So do you know these words or not? I don't know the answer to this question. I have no idea. I just picked it out random. But apprehension means, you're worried about something. But remember, apprehend, right? Apprehend as a verb means like you apprehend the suspect, means you get that person. But apprehend can also mean understanding something, right? But apprehend also can mean being worried about something. That's what the new SAT is really trying to test you on, if you know the depth of a word, right? And ambivalence means, ambi means both, valence means choice, means I don't know how I feel. Appreciation is actually another very difficult word. Appreciate, I know you could be thankful for something, but can you appreciate fine wine has a very different meaning. You're not thankful for fine wine. Well, you could be. And astonishment means you're amazed by something, right? So they're giving you very, very it's not as easy, right? Definitely these are not the most difficult words on the SATs, but they're not easy, and they want you to know in depth. Okay, so that you're gonna have to know the vocab for the tone questions, and I'm gonna give you a list at the end, so go check it out. This is another tone question, except they don't ask you what is the tone of the author directly like before, but look what it does, right? What do the words can, may, and could do? What do they do to establish a tone? What tone do they do? And look what it says. Look, answer is optimistic tone, dubious tone, tentative tone, critical tone. Look, it's basically the same thing as before, right? They're asking you, do you know optimistic, dubious, tentative, critical, right? And then read the rest of the sentence with it. That's it. That's all you have to do, right? Optimistic, dubious, you probably know. Tentative is probably the one that you don't know. Tentative means, he's not sure, right? It's not, he's not being absolute about something, okay? Alright, so we'll look at one more. So this is the same thing. It says, what main effect do the quotations by Andrews in 10 to 18 have on the tone, right? Again, tone of the passage. They don't ask you directly, but it's the same thing. It has a bleak tone, it has a conversational tone, it has a ominous tone, it has an absurd tone, right? They all put these adjectives in front, or these modifiers in front of the tone, right? And that's what they're basically asking. What does bleak mean, right, in context of the sentence? And what does ominous mean in this sentence? And what does absurd mean in this sentence? And you could get the answer. And, I know a lot of people are excited that there's no answer choice E, right? And they don't penalize you for guessing and you getting it wrong. But, it really is meaningless, because the old SAT had 5 answers. And if you guessed wrong on one of them, they took off an extra 0.25. But the wrong answers were usually ridiculous, right? And they still give you ridiculous answers, and you could get rid of one of them. So, but make sure you guess on the new SATs, because you don't get punished for it at all. If you get it wrong, you get it wrong. Same as not filling it in, right? So, one last thing. So this is all, up to now has been all the tone questions has been from reading sections or critical reading. I know the verbal, they're calling it verbal, right? Verbal, and then you get a total score of 800. But you have to understand that there are sub-scores, right? There's a certain score for critical reading, and then certain score for writing, and then you add those things together, and then you get your verbal score, right? You get your verbal score. So colleges can see your sub-scores, and that's something I think to note. Right, just because you score 800 on verbal doesn't mean, or let's say you score 700 on verbal, but if you killed it, absolutely awesome in critical reading, but you did bad in writing, colleges can tell. So something to keep in mind. In any case, so this one that I put in the red box is actually from the writing section. Okay, but remember, the writing section is an integration of the reading section, so you have to really be careful. This question says, which choice best maintains? So which one best keeps the tone established in the passage? Obviously, we haven't read the passage, so we don't know. And answer A is no change, right? But look at the words they give you. They're not too easy. Maybe you know icky, right? Oh, this is icky. But what does surly mean? And this is not surely. One word that I think kids confuse very easily. It's not. It says surly, not surely, right? Surly means ill-tempered, bad-mannered, right? You're a very, very cantankerous person. And abysmal means disastrous. So you really have to know some of the vocab to do well on the writing section. Because how are you going to know, right? How are you going to do this question without knowing these two words? Maybe you know icky and keep it the same, but obviously we didn't read the passage. But you have to know these words, right? Again, the importance of vocabulary.